What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. You know what it is. I am Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple. And once again, my partner isn't available. Devastating Daryl Pace, where are you at, man? All right. He can be on all those videos, but he's not here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Guys, as you know, this is season 2. We've had a great season. We've had all types of superstars on the show. But we are the wrestling heroes. So we've not only had wrestling stars, we've had people to bring the show together. As I said last week, we've had production assistants. We've had people that create theme music for AEW. We've had the director of security. But right now, we got somebody that helps make the wrestling world go. This young man, I think he's got to be the youngest journalist in the world when it comes to pro wrestling. And personally, I've known this young man since he's about 4 years old. Can we give it up for Mr. Matthew McFarlin from SlamWrestling.com? How are you doing today, young man?
Doing good, Whip Dog. How you?
I am doing good, dog. It's crazy interviewing you now because I remember you being a young guy going to our shows, man. Look at you now. I'm seeing you on Slam Wrestling, and I'm seeing you report this great stuff, man. Well, I know the story, but let our listeners know, how did you go from being a young wrestling fan to now working for one of the biggest websites in pro wrestling, SlamWrestling.com?
Well, for starters, I'm the son of Handsome Johnny Bradford, I guess legendary Michigan wrestling manager, and I was a fan my entire life because of it. I don't know why, but I was hooked. And besides managing, he was a photographer for Slam Wrestling, so that's how I got my in with that website. But for the past 6 years, I've been wrestlers, writing about TV shows, so I've been doing it all.
Nice. Now, like I said, I've known you for years. Shout out to my guy, Handsome Johnny Bradford. Love him to death. Back in my wrestling days, he was my manager once. My first question is this. First of all, how old are you now, Matthew?
I just turned 16 earlier this month.
Oh, happy belated birthday to you. But you just turned 16. Now, a lot of young men that start locking wrestling when they're growing up, they grow out of it. Why are you still connected to the business? How come you haven't hit that stage where I'm worried about just the girls, not pro wrestling? How did that keep going in your heart, man?
I have no clue. I wish I could tell you why, but it kind of sucks because I'm the only person that I've met my age that actually likes wrestling as much as I do. I guess I'm just an outsider.
Seriously? None of the homies like the wrestling like you do, man?
No, I feel so lonely. I like wrestling. I like wrestling a lot. I'm the only one.
Oh, man. Now, that's terrible, guys, but that's why it's good that you are a reporter, so you're connected to people all over the world, not just your buddies at school. But with that being said, what is your furthest back memory of pro wrestling? Was it going to see Johnny Bradford live, or was it something on TV?
I think the clearest memory is going to 2010 Over the Limit at Joe Louis Arena. I remember that was probably my first ever pay-per-view, maybe my first big show, and that's the clearest memory I have of wrestling.
Now, I'm going to test you out, because one thing that's always been amazing about you to me, you are a wrestling historian. To be so young, you're very knowledgeable about the business. So my first question is, do you remember what was the main event of Over the Limit?
John Cena versus Batista.
Of course you wouldn't forget that. Of course not.
Yeah.
So how did you learn details so much in wrestling? Because you actually understand wrestling psychology. And I noticed you understood that at a young age. Even when we were doing our shows, you noticed that wrestling was wrestling, if you will.
I think I give credit to my dad for that. Well, it's my dad. He's just been telling me all the insider terms, I suppose, and I just been picking up on it because I have been going to shows since I was very little. I never stopped, so I just kept accumulating all these terms, all this knowledge. Yeah.
So he smartened you up real early, huh?
He did.
Well,
He
because
did.
your dad used to get busted up. He would blade all the time, man. So you had to make sure you were okay when you watched that, man. Now I know you've been doing interviews.
I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Well, of course. When he got mad at you, you're like, well, look, you got beat up, so it's okay. We're even, dog. So with that being said, you've done a lot of interviews yourself. What are some of your favorite interviews that you've done?
The first interview I ever did was with Matt Riddle. I was really nervous about that one. I was really diving into the deep end there, but he couldn't have been nicer. And I say that for all of the people I've interviewed. They've been really kind to me. Another one of my favorite interviews is Rich Swann. I think I had really good questions for him. He gave really good answers back. It's two to tango, I suppose. Good questions, good answers back creates a good story.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. You say you're a little nervous about Matt Riddle. Have you met anybody at this point that was like, I'm scared. I don't know. I've seen him do his thing in the ring. I don't know if I can take this. I don't know if I can interview this guy.
Well, I think it's for everybody. I'm just that kind of nervous person, but once I start talking to them, it completely changes. They're great people. Wrestlers are great people, I guess.
Okay. Now, at this point, you're relatively inside the business. Are you still a fan of the business? Because sometimes,
of course,
when you get into business,
I watch it every week. Yeah.
You still watch it every week, huh? Okay.
I do, yes.
I know you got this. WWE 2K20. You get Battlegrounds yet?
I did not. I also don't have 2K20 either. I heard about it, so I stayed away from it.
Oh, I forgot. You're a reporter, so you got all the inside about all the glitches in it way before I did, and I bought it, and it was, oh, wait, whatever. Okay, with that being said, we kind of touched on it already, but one of our segments is called your mark out moment. Was there one moment that you interviewed somebody or you were at a show, maybe it was your birthday party and somebody came through that you really just marked out and was like, man, this is it. This is like super dope right here. Has that ever happened to you? And if so, what would be that moment?
It was with you. It was with you.
Shut up.
Well, not exactly you in the ring, but you were with me when it happened.
We'll talk about the moment. I think I remember this, but talk about the moment.
Hell in a Cell 2017. When Shane McMahon faced Kevin Owens in a Hell in a Cell match. That is my mark out moment.
Nice.
Should I go on?
Y'all heard that. You heard that. Now, because you report on all of pro wrestling, I know you watch a lot of NXT, you watch a lot of AEW. What do you think about right now the Wednesday Night Wars?
Keep up with it. It's petty. I'll say that it's petty because there's good wrestling on both sides. There's bad stuff on both sides too. But as a fan, I couldn't be happier. There's great wrestling, great content to write about, to watch, to talk about. I think it's great. I think AEW, NXT are doing great things right now.
Nice. Now, what do you expect from AEW in the upcoming years? Do you really think they can compete with the World Wrestling Entertainment, or do you think it's just going to stay kind of at the NXT level?
I guess we'll see about that after pandemic at least. But right now, when you look at the numbers, they're pretty close to the Raw right now. Raw's not doing too well. Raw is about 1.5 in the demos or the ratings. AEW's catching up. So I don't know if they're going to surpass them. Probably not, but maybe they will go head-to-head with them one day.
Okay. Now, what about NXT? Obviously, a lot of people know Triple H has his hands all over NXT, and Shawn Michaels is one of the trainers over there. What do you like and dislike about NXT right now?
NXT is the purest wrestling show on national television as it gets. It's about wrestling. You see good wrestling matches. It's pure wrestling storylines. It's wrestling as wrestling gets.
Okay. Now, because you have to write about it, we're going to go here. I know you see all the fans and they trash WWE Raw and SmackDown every day, all day, and every platform. First of all, what do you think about the fans that just bury WWE Raw and SmackDown all the time? And what do you personally think about WWE right now? Now, obviously, it's during the pandemic. We got the Thunderdome and all that stuff going on. But what do you think currently about it? And what do you think about the fans that trash it all the time?
I think it goes both ways about fans who trash it and fans who support it nevertheless. There are things that you should support and there are things that you shouldn't, because I don't think you should support mediocrity, if that makes sense. It's not all bad. There are some highlights here and there, but they're doing the best they can.
Hold on 1 second here. Sound popped out. Okay. Can you say something else? I think your sound popped out for a second. Can you hear me? Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, I agree. Now with all this pandemic wrestling, they've done a lot of cinematic wrestling. You know, we had WrestleMania, we had the Firefly Funhouse match, we had the Undertaker Boneyard match. AEW did the Super Bowl deal match, whatever they did. What do you think about all that, man? Do you think it's entertaining, or you're not a fan of that type of stuff?
I do think it's entertaining, but it got old quickly. I think the highlight of that was probably WrestleMania 36, the Boneyard match, and Firefly Funhouse. But once you see it all the time, it gets old. It's run its course.
Okay, I agree with that. What would you like to see WWE change going forward once we finally do get fans back in the arenas?
Can I say everything? I think they need a entire reboot of the way they think about their product, because right now it's sports entertainment, and I don't think that works. It really doesn't.
So you think if they went back to a straight, more professional wrestling presentation, that would draw the fans back in?
I don't think it'll draw the fans back in, but it will better the product. Whether that means more viewership or more money, I don't know about that. But the product right now is not doing well creatively. It's not doing well as an entertainment business either. I don't think it's good. I just don't.
Okay. Now, I know you say you watch wrestling around the world right now. So are you a big fan of the Japanese style wrestling, any of that international, or you pretty much stay with the American style wrestling?
I don't watch it, but I do keep up with it. New Japan. I don't have New Japan World, but I see it on social media, so I keep up with it.
Okay. Now you just touched on something else. Professional wrestling on social media. The world has changed a lot with that. Years ago, wrestlers would not be engaging with fans all day long on social media. And now they do. They see the fans trash it, they get offended, and they go back and battle. Do you think that takes away from them being looked at as superstars when they're that easily accessible?
Yeah, that's the thing. People complain about, wrestlers aren't bigger than life anymore. They're not larger than life superstars. And the thing is, they're down to the level of everybody else now. They're just like one of us. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I guess that's subjective. But they're one of us now. They're not superstars anymore.
Yeah. So personally, would you prefer that they kind of pull back on being behind the curtain or in front of the curtain as much as they are? Because personally, I get it to a degree. I understand you want to build your brand, but I don't think every worker should be arguing with the fan because the fan didn't like their match. I mean, like you said, I think they're too easily accessible now. It's one thing if we saw them at the gym one day. That's one thing. but to argue with them online and actually get blocked, I think that's crazy to me.
It is crazy. It is crazy. But I guess that's a societal thing now. Social media is engraved in our everyday lives now. I don't think that wrestling would have stayed the same because social media is taking control of everything.
Absolutely. I get it. Absolutely. Now, let's get back to you working for Slam Wrestling right now. You've been doing that. How long have you been working with them now?
I don't really know. More than 6 years, probably.
So, how is it working over there, man? I mean, you write for them and everything. How are they as a company? Are they really receptive? Do they like you, or do they do the old school style? He's just a young guy. He doesn't know anything.
No, I love working with them. I feel like I'm part of the group. I'm part of the family. They've been really receptive to me. They've taken me under their wing, especially Greg Oliver, the chief editor there. I've kind of soaked in the knowledge from him over the years, and I couldn't thank him enough.
Okay. Now, we're going to touch on another wrestling promotion that we haven't talked about in a minute. Me and you have been to these shows before. Ring of Honor. There was a time here in the Michigan area in Dearborn where Ring of Honor, the show, you could barely get in the building. Obviously, they don't have the stars anymore. A lot of the stars have funneled to different promotions, bigger promotions. Where do you see Ring of Honor going in the next 5 years? They've had a little bit of trauma and issues going on as well currently. But what do you think about them in the next 5 years?
I don't think it looks good for them, especially with AEW now taking the rest of the talent that's not signed with WWE. Ring of Honor is not in a good place right now. I remember a few years back with the Elite being on top, and they're one of the best promotions in America, maybe the world. But now that core talent is gone, and everybody else is spread out now to different companies, they really don't have enough stars, I guess, or enough talented wrestlers, enough well-known names to carry that brand anymore.
Yeah. I think I gotta agree with you on that. I mean, like I said, we went to the show a year or two ago, and they still have good pro wrestling, but they don't have a star. They don't have that guy that will draw you in. I did like I like Marty Scurll, but even him, I just don't. To me, he doesn't give that larger than life without the Elite. You know what I mean? Without the Bucks, without all those guys.
Right.
You know. Now we're gonna get a little personal on specific wrestlers. I'm gonna run some names off to you, and I'm not. If you want to bury them, you can. If you want to say good things about them, you can. You willing to play that game today?
You kind of cut it out there. What'd you say?
Okay. I was saying we're going to play a game, a name association. I'm going to run some names off to you. You can either say you like the guy, tell me what you like about him, or you want to bury him. Go right ahead and do that as well. You willing to do that? All right.
Yeah, sure.
Brandy Rhodes.
I can't slander her. She's from Detroit. She's one of us. I can't slander her.
Okay. I got it. All right. I just spoke of him. Marty Scurll.
I suppose you said it. He fell off without the Elite. He's not what he used to be.
Seth Rollins.
Modern legend. He's the pinnacle of WWE. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Goldberg.
I can't. I know you like Goldberg. I cannot. I didn't like it when he defeated Kevin Owens.
All right.
I really didn't like it when he beat Bray Wyatt earlier this year.
Oh man. All right. Fine. Hold on, wait a minute. Well, I got another one for you. Speaking of that, Bray Wyatt. And I'm referring to Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, both of them. What do you think about the character?
I love Bray Wyatt. So creative. He puts his everything into what he does, and that really translates onto the screen.
The Young Bucks.
They probably are my favorite tag team.
What?
At least, yes.
So you're not going to say overrated, huh? They're not overrated to you, huh?
They're spot monkeys, but I still like them. No,
Okay.
I still like them.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna finish off with one. This name is close to me. Hulk Hogan.
Mm. Well, I can't really say much about him. I wasn't born in that era, but I mean, he's an icon. He's immortal. What else can I say?
And that's kind of why I wanted to ask you that question. I want to see where somebody that wasn't around in his era would think of him currently. Okay. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Well, we got another segment coming up before we close out. Normally, this segment is called Book Yourself. That's usually what we do when we have the wrestlers on the show. They would tell us what they would do if they were in WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, NWA, or whatever. But because you're not a wrestler, but you are a writer, you're a journalist, if you were to be on the creative team on a wrestling promotion currently, where would you be at, and what do you think you could write that could help one of the promotions?
I think I could probably book. I like to fantasy book, I guess, and I know the wrestlers. I watch it every week, and I play universe mode. So there's my experience with that.
So, but if we place you in a promotion, what promotion would you like to book? And do a little fantasy booking right now for us.
AEW probably.
Okay.
My guy is Cody Rhodes. He's one of my favorites ever. So Cody, he's been doing this tweener type of thing the last few months. Eventually that'll lead to a complete elite breakup. I don't know the details. I don't know what the details will be, but I would push him all the way as this arrogant, sadistic heel, I suppose, because that's what he does best. I think Cody is a great heel.
Okay. Now, with that being said, you just said you do a lot of fantasy booking. In your personal future, do you want to be on the creative writing team of a wrestling promotion down the road, or you just want to stay kind of doing the journalistic thing?
Yeah, I think my dream is to make it to one of the big companies, not as a wrestler, but as in a backstage role. I don't know what that will be, but I hope to make it there someday.
Okay. Y'all heard that. You heard that. Hire the boy. He's already killing the game. 5 years from now, he's going to be amazing. Are you going to go to college for broadcast journalism or something to that degree?
I probably will. I'm thinking about getting a journalism degree. That's in the books right now. I can't say for sure. I'm only in the 11th grade, but that's thinking ahead.
Well, y'all heard him. He's already there. And a couple weeks ago, we had Rob Hockman. He was a former writer for the WWE on the show. And that's basically what we talked about. Go for your dream. He even stated pretty much start writing for the local independent promotions and get a feel for it. So, I've been a fan of you since you were a little guy, man. So I know you got this, man. Well, I'm not going to hold you up all night because you already told me you got to make moves. So I'm going to get you out of here. But before we close out, we have a segment. It's called Ring the Bell. Well, Ring the Bell is this. You got 60 seconds to talk about anything. You can talk about what you got coming up. You can just promote yourself. You can just talk about it's a beautiful day in the world. You can inspire people. Whatever you want to do. But Matthew McFarlin from SlamWrestling.com, you got 60 seconds. I need you to ring the bell.
Well, what's up? I'm Matthew McFarlin. I also go by Matt's Matt on Instagram. I run this wrestling page on Instagram. We're about at 5,500 followers, and I just post about wrestling. I post about what I like, what I dislike, what I out. So you can follow me over there on Instagram, and you can check out my writings on SlamWrestling.com.
Nice. And one more time, let them hear it one more time, just in case they missed that. Where can they follow you at?
Matt on Instagram.
Matt to Matt at Instagram. On Instagram. All right, Matthew, thank you very much for your time, man. We're going to bring you back so we can actually talk longer. But like I said, I know you got to get out of here. So I'm going to let you get away this time, but you will be back sometime, right? All right,
I will.
Sounds good to me. Well, y'all know what it is. Each and every week we have some great wrestlers, some great heroes, some great stars on the show. I'm Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple. My partner, Devastating Daryl Pace, ain't here today, but he'll be back next week. You know what to do. Follow us on Instagram at The Whip Show Podcast. Follow us, like us on Facebook, The Whip Show. And you can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play, and all podcast platforms. Just put in The Whip Show Podcast. And if you got a guest that you want on the show, hit us up. The Whip Show Podcast at gmail.com. And Matthew McFarlin, once again, thank you for being on the show. And shout out to Slam Wrestling. And make sure y'all follow him, Matt to Matt. We out of here. Take care. See you next week.